Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we slice through the complexity of today's tech world to bring you those golden nuggets of knowledge you really need to stay ahead. If you're an IT professional, navigating the constant currents of device and client management, well, the landscape is always shifting, always.
Constantly.
And right now, there's one certification that's proving to be absolutely indispensable. The Microsoft MD-102 for endpoint administrators.
Yeah, that's the one people are talking about.
Exactly. So our mission today, it's to give you not just an overview, but like a comprehensive, actionable roadmap. We're going to demystify the MD-102, dig into why it's such a career game changer, and arm you with the strategies to actually conquer that exam.
Sounds good.
We've poured over multiple expert sources, real-world experiences, you name it, to create what we really hope is your ultimate shortcut to success. So you'll walk away knowing exactly what to focus on, and maybe more importantly, how to approach the learning process itself. Okay, let's unpack this and get right to it.
Let's do it.
And to kick things off, joining me is an absolute wizard in the world of endpoint administration. I mean, someone who lives and breathes this stuff.
Well, thanks.
And they're going to jump straight in with some high-value tips and tricks for anyone who has their sights set on this MD-102 certification.
Happy to. Thank you for that fantastic introduction. It's true, approaching the MD-102 isn't just about hitting the books. It's really about having a strategic mindset. What really struck me about the MD-102, it isn't just that it opens doors, but how specifically it kind of redefines roles like desktop support. It's transforming them, really. From reactive fixers to more proactive endpoint strategists. That's a shift many IT pros might not fully appreciate at first glance.
That's a really interesting way to put it, proactive strategist.
Exactly. This certification path, it truly offers significant career growth, whether you're, new to IT or you're aiming for that next leadership role.
Right.
So one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give right away, understand the exam format and structure from day one. Seriously. Many candidates find the questions can be quite, tricky.
Tricky, okay. How so?
They often test your ability to interpret scenarios, not just recall facts. So reading each question incredibly carefully, maybe even a couple of times, is absolutely critical. Don't just skim for keywords, Really digest the context.
Got it. Read carefully, understand the scenario.
Precisely. Beyond that, make the official exam objectives your absolute Bible. Every single topic listed there is fair game. They're your best guide for focused preparation. Don't waste time studying stuff that's not on that list.
Good tip. Stay focused.
And for practical advice right out of the gate, leverage practice tests, but not just to see if you're ready. More importantly, use them to pinpoint your weak areas and get deeply familiar with the question styles. It's really not about memorizing answers. It's about understanding why an answer is correct or incorrect. And this approach, it naturally leads to the bigger question. How do you make sure you're not just, rote memorizing, but truly understanding these concepts for applying them in the real world?
And that's the key, isn't it? Real-world application.
It absolutely is, and that's exactly what we'll be diving into throughout this deep dive.
That's a powerful start, and I love that idea, the transformation of the IT role. Sounds exciting. So let's peel back the layers a bit more. What exactly is the MD-102 fundamentally, and why is it creating such a buzz in the IT world right now? Why this one?
Okay, so the Microsoft MD-102 certification, formally it's known as the Microsoft 365 Certified Endpoint Administrator Associate.
Right.
At its core, it basically validates your ability to deploy, configure, manage, and maintain both Windows 10/11 and, importantly, non-Windows devices within a modern enterprise environment.
And on Windows too, okay.
Yeah. Think of it as Microsoft's stamp of approval that you're proficient in modern desktop management. You understand the tools, the strategies. It goes way beyond just, installing an OS from a disk like we used to.
Definitely moved past that.
Oh, yeah. For individuals, this certification is a direct line to significant career growth. It's not just a piece of paper. It's tangible proof of expertise. If you're eyeing roles like desktop support technician, system administrator, or maybe even venturing into more specialized areas like modern workplace consultant, the MD-102 can dramatically improve your core IT skills and really make you stand out. In a job market that's, let's be honest, flooded with generalists, this specialization in endpoint management is a powerful differentiator.
That makes sense. Specialization is key.
It really is. It tells employers you're ready to tackle the complexities of managing a diverse fleet of devices, especially in today's hybrid work model.
Right. The hybrid world changes everything.
It does. And a modern endpoint administrator, they aren't just fixing individual PCs anymore. They're implementing solutions for efficient, large-scale deployment ongoing management of endpoints across various OSs, platforms, device types, you name it.
So it's much more strategic.
Totally strategic. This often means working closely with solutions architects, Microsoft 365 admins, and crucially, security administrators. They're all collaborating, to design and implement a cohesive modern workplace strategy, one that enhances productivity while maintaining really robust security. It's a forward-thinking role, which is exactly why the certification is so highly valued.
That paints a much clearer picture. Strategic, collaborative. It's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
So if someone is listening and thinking, okay, this sounds like my next step, who is this certification truly designed for? Is it for everyone in IT, or is it more for a specific kind of professional looking to specialize?
It's definitely targeted, yeah. The typical audience for the MD-102, it usually consists of individuals who already have some kind of foundation in IT support, device management, desktop support, that sort of thing.
Okay, so some experience is helpful.
Definitely. So if your current title involves terms like desktop support technician, system administrator, or technical support specialist, you're likely right in the prime demographic for this certification.
Gotcha.
In terms of prerequisites, well, candidates really need a strong practical understanding of Windows 10/11 deployment, configuration, maintenance, and troubleshooting. It's not just knowing the theory, you really need to have gotten your hands dirty.
Hands-on is key.
Absolutely. You should also be pretty adept at managing, monitoring, and maintaining not just Windows 10/11 devices, but also those non-Windows devices we mentioned. Cross-platform management is a huge part of the modern workplace now. And crucially, familiarity with Microsoft 365 workloads, Intune, that's Microsoft's cloud-based unified endpoint management solution, and Microsoft Entra ID, which, used to be Azure Active Directory.
Right, the name change.
Yeah, that familiarity is absolutely essential. We're talking networking fundamentals, security principles, robust troubleshooting skills. And I really can't emphasize this enough. Hands-on experience with these technologies is the key differentiator.
Okay.
It separates just passing the exam from truly excelling as an endpoint administrator. Spend time in a lab environment. Build that practical muscle memory. It's invaluable.
That's excellent advice. The hands-on piece sounds absolutely critical. You really need to be comfortable in the trenches, as they say. So for those who are ready to take the plunge, when someone sits down for this exam, what core competencies is Microsoft really testing them on? What are the big knowledge areas they need to master?
Okay, so when you sit down for the MD-102, you'll be tested across several critical domains. These really reflect the day-to-day responsibilities of an endpoint administrator. The exam's structured to make sure you can perform tasks like managing policies and configuration profile.
Right, the bread and butter.
Exactly. It's fundamental. It ensures consistency, security, functionality across your device fleet, whether you're pushing out VPN settings or, say, restricting application usage. A significant portion focuses on managing and protecting devices. And this isn't just the initial setup. It covers everything from enrollment and security baselines to ongoing health monitoring and remote actions.
The whole life cycle.
The whole life cycle. You'll also need to demonstrate proficiency in managing apps and data, knowing how to deploy applications efficiently, manage their life cycle, and protect sensitive corporate data, even on personal devices. That BYOD scenario.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. The exam further delves into the deployment, management, and security of devices and applications, managing updates and policies effectively. This includes your readiness to manage device updates and configurations, setting up and implementing Windows 10/11 in various scenarios, and configuring and supporting core services like networking and user profiles. And it goes beyond the basics. You'll need familiarity with more advanced tools and concepts like Windows Analytics for insights into device health, Microsoft Store for Business for app distribution, and especially Windows Autopilot.
Yes, Autopilot. We'll need to dig into that.
You definitely will. It's revolutionized device provisioning. These are all integral parts of modern, efficient endpoint administration.
Okay, let's start with one of those core areas. Deploying a Windows client. It really feels like the absolute foundation for any endpoint administrators, where it all begins, right?
Yeah.
So what are the essential steps and, maybe more importantly, the best practices involved in getting that initial setup right, especially when you're thinking about doing it at scale?
You're absolutely right. It's the bedrock. To effectively deploy Windows client devices, the first essential step is figuring out the most appropriate installation method for your specific environment. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation. Are you dealing with brand new devices, or are you refreshing existing ones? Are they corporate-owned or personal BYOD devices? These questions guide you towards methods ranging from, manual image-based deployments using tools like MDT, all the way to modern cloud-based provisioning with Windows Autopilot.
So choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly. Each has its strengths and weaknesses, and the MD-102 definitely expects you to understand when to use which one. Next, you need to rigorously evaluate both hardware and software requirements. And this isn't just about hitting the minimum specs.
Right.
It's about anticipating future needs and ensuring compatibility with all your crucial line of business applications. Overlooking some minor driver issue or an obscure software dependency during this phase, it can snowball into major headaches later.
Oh, I bet.
Then, critically, you have to establish robust user data migration strategies. Seamlessly transitioning user files, settings, profiles from old devices to new ones, that's paramount for user satisfaction and productivity. Nobody wants to start from scratch.
No kidding. That's a huge pain point.
Yeah, it is. Now, when it comes to best practices for configuring updates, here's a critical insight, maybe one that separates the good admins from the great ones.
Okay.
The real magic in managing updates isn't just pushing them out, it's the disciplined, often overlooked step of rigorously testing in a sandboxed environment before any widespread deployment.
Ah, the testing phase.
Yes. Skipping this is just a fast track to chaos. The MD-102 strongly advocates for this proactive approach. It's non-negotiable, really. Beyond testing, you have to ensure devices are regularly updated to the latest versions and patches. Develop a clear, well-thought-out strategy for when and how to deploy updates. Think phased rollouts, maintenance windows, clear communication with users.
Communication is key there, too.
Huge. For effective management of device configuration and compliance policies on Windows Client, you'll heavily lean on tools like Microsoft Intune. This involves implementing security baselines. Those are predefined sets of security configurations designed to harden devices against common threats. You'll also enforce conditional access policies. That means devices have to meet certain criteria like being compliant, up to date before they can even access corporate resources.
Gatekeeping, basically.
Pretty much. And to truly enhance the process, you want to move towards automated provisioning and configuration using tools like Autopilot and continuously monitor and remediate non-compliance issues. It's an active, ongoing effort, not just a one-time setup.
That's incredibly thorough. And yeah, that idea of testing updates before deployment. I imagine many IT pros have learned that one the hard way.
Oh, definitely. War stories abound.
Right. Now, let's pivot to something absolutely central to modern security, identity management. We're talking about who gets in, how they're verified, and what they can actually do once they're inside your digital walls. How does the MD-102 approach managing employee identities and their access to resources?
You've hit on one of the most critical pillars of modern IT identity. The MD-102 really emphasizes that organizations can effectively manage employee identity and access by implementing robust identity management solutions. Primarily, that's Microsoft Entra ID, our central identity platform. This means establishing crystal clear policies and procedures to ensure that the right individuals access the right resources at precisely the right times. It's this constant balancing act, between security and usability.
Always a balance.
Always. A cornerstone of this is implementing strong authentication methods. And by strong, we primarily mean multi-factor authentication, or MFA.
MFA, right. Non-negotiable now.
Pretty much non-negotiable. Imagine a scenario. A user's password gets leaked in a phishing attack. Without MFA, that's game over. The attacker is in.
Yeah.
With MFA, they hit a brick wall because they lack that second verification factor. It's just a baseline for any organization today. Beyond MFA, the principle of least privilege is paramount.
Least privilege. Explain that a bit.
It means limiting access rights for users to only what is strictly required to perform their duties, no more, no less. So if a help desk technician only needs to reset passwords, they absolutely shouldn't have global admin rights.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Limits the blast radius.
Exactly. It drastically shrinks your attack surface and limits the damage if an account ever gets compromised. And it's not a static setup either. You need continuous review and updating of access controls to ensure they stay relevant and aligned with current business needs. What was okay last year might be a security risk today.
Constant vigilance.
Totally. If we connect this to the bigger picture, vigilant user access monitoring and regular policy updates don't just enforce current security, they significantly mitigate the risk of unauthorized access and potential data breaches. This enhances overall security and ensures compliance with industry regulations, standards like GDPR or HIPAA. It's all about building a digital perimeter that's both secure and adaptable.
I really like that analogy. A digital perimeter makes it very clear. Okay, let's talk about updates again. The bane of every IT admin's existence. It often feels like this never-ending cycle of patches and reboots. What's the best way to configure them for Windows client devices according to MD-102 principles so they actually work for us, rather than constantly feeling like we're just reacting?
You've hit the nail on the head. It absolutely can feel like that endless cycle. But with the MD-102 mindset, it becomes less about reaction and more about strategy. Proactive, remember?
Right. Proactive.
The first thing is to treat updates like a planned surgical strike, not some random act of IT. You need to maintain devices up to date with a regular schedule, ideally planning these during non-peak hours to minimize work disruptions.
Makes sense. Avoid prime time.
And communicate clearly to users in advance. Nobody likes a surprise reboot right in the middle of a critical task.
Definitely not.
Configuring update policies to ensure network compliance and security is another crucial step. This means setting deadlines for installations, defining active hours, controlling restart behaviors, all that granular control. And here's that critical insight from the field again. The emphasis on using a testing environment to validate updates before a network-wide rollout is absolutely essential.
The testing again. Crucial.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen a seemingly minor patch bring down a critical line of business app because it wasn't properly vetted first. The MD-102 really drills into the importance of this test before you deploy philosophy. It minimizes potential issues and avoids that dreaded help desk explosion.
Right, avoid the phone ringing off the hook.
Exactly. Additionally, implementing group policies for managing updates, or more likely now, using Intune's update rings, allows for specific configurations tailored to different departments or the entire organization. For instance, you might have a pilot group getting updates immediately, a broader group a week later, and maybe a critical executive group even later.
Phase rollout.
Precisely. By adhering to these practices, you ensure that devices are systematically updated. This is key to maintaining system security, stability, and ultimately user productivity. It's all about building predictability into what can often feel like an unpredictable process.
That's a powerful point, turning updates into that planned surgical strike. Love that. So, beyond just updates, how do we enforce consistent settings and make sure devices meet security standards across the board? Especially given the huge diversity of devices in a modern enterprise. That's where device configuration and compliance policies really come into play, right?
Absolutely. Device configuration and compliance policies are really the backbone of a standardized and secure endpoint environment. Think of device configuration policies as encompassing that vast array of settings and features you want to enable or disable on various devices: laptops, smartphones, tablets, even virtual desktops.
Okay.
These policies cover critical aspects like network configurations, Wi-Fi profiles, VPN settings, application settings, and most importantly, security parameters like BitLocker encryption or Windows Defender settings.
So defining the baseline.
Exactly. And mobile device management, or MDM, solutions like Microsoft Intune are absolutely critical for implementing and monitoring these compliance policies. Intune lets you push out these standardized policies to potentially thousands of devices, ensuring they adhere to your organization's specific rules and industry regulations. It's about bringing order to the chaos of diverse device types and operating systems.
Order from chaos. Sounds good.
However, managing these policies comes with its own set of challenges. One major hurdle is ensuring consistent updates to these configurations and security policies. The digital landscape is always changing, right? Your policies need to evolve with it. And the sheer diversity of devices, operating systems, user scenarios in today's workplaces, from a corporate Windows laptop to a personal Android phone accessing company email, that further complicates these challenges.
Yeah, that diversity is tough.
It is, and this naturally raises an important question for any endpoint administrator. How do you strike the right balance between robust security and practical usability when you're addressing these obstacles?
Ah, the eternal balance.
Exactly. Overly strict policies can lead to user frustration, workarounds, shadow IT.
Yep.
While overly lax ones just risk security breaches. The MD-102 teaches you how to navigate this tightrope, emphasizing that user experience must be considered alongside security requirements. It's not just about locking everything down, it's about smart, informed configuration.
That's a profound point. Balancing security and usability, it's a constant tension in IT. Yeah. And speaking of usability, managing applications from the initial deployment to ongoing configuration, that's a huge, often complex part of an administrator's daily role. What specifically does the MD-102 certification cover in this critical area?
Application management within the MD-102 scope is quite comprehensive. It covers the entire life cycle of an application, deployment, ongoing management, and configuration. So candidates for this certification, they need a deep understanding of how to effectively deploy and manage applications in a Windows client environment. This includes mastering various installation methods, whether it's through the Microsoft Store for Business, traditional MSI packages, or modern Win32 app deployments via Intune. You'll need to know how to manage different app versions, ensure compatibility, manage updates, and correctly set deployment configurations like detection rules and installation commands. Lots of detail there.
That sounds like it.
But it's not just about pushing out software. The challenges related to app configuration often include understanding specific user needs and preferences. For instance, different departments might need different versions or configurations of the same application.
Right, customization.
Exactly. You also have to manage compatibility issues that can pop up with different app versions or OS builds. Imagine rolling out an update that breaks a critical legacy app for just one department. That's the kind of nightmare scenario you're trained to prevent.
Yeah, definitely want to avoid that.
Oh, yeah. The solutions explored in the MD-102 curriculum involve using advanced group policy settings, especially for on-prem environments, and understanding user environment virtualization techniques. More prominently, though, it dives into Intune's app configuration policies. These let you pre-configure application settings before they even reach the user, ensuring a seamless and consistent experience. This holistic approach prepares administrators to handle the complexities of application delivery, maintenance, and user experience in a modern endpoint environment, whether that's a corporate laptop or a BYOD mobile device.
You mentioned Windows Autopilot earlier, and honestly, it sounds like a real game changer for device deployment, promising a more streamlined, automated process. What's the magic behind it, really? And why should every IT professional be absolutely thrilled about its capabilities?
Yeah.
It seems like it solves a lot of old problems.
Oh, you just painted the perfect picture of the before times. Autopilot truly is a game changer because it takes that entire painful, time-consuming imaging process and basically throws it out the window. Imagine this. A new employee unboxes their laptop, turns it on, logs in with their company credentials, and poof, it's already configured. All their apps, security policies, company branding, all there, without IT ever physically touching the device.
That sounds amazing. So what is the magic?
The magic is that it simplifies and modernizes the Windows deployment process by eliminating the need for custom images, drivers, and complex IT infrastructure. That's the core of it.
Okay.
The key benefits here are huge. It deploys directly from the cloud, which removes the requirement for custom OS images or hunting down local drivers. That alone saves countless hours.
I bet. Driver hunting is the worst.
It really is. Configuration is primarily done via cloud-based profiles and Microsoft Intune. This saves a tremendous amount of time and resources, especially when you're doing large-scale deployments across different locations.
Makes sense. Cloud-based is scalable.
Exactly. Beyond that, Autopilot offers a fully customizable out-of-box experience, the OOBE, for users. This means you can inject company branding, set up user profiles, define network settings right from the device's very first startup. Makes the onboarding process feel really tailored and professional.
Nice touch.
And for new devices that come with Windows 11 pre-installed, Autopilot can quickly reconfigure them without needing to re-image, preserving those crucial OEM configurations. It also shines in device refresh scenarios. You can reset or refresh devices to a clean, corporate-configured state without traditional re-imaging methods. That reduces the overall need for re-imaging, saving vast amounts of time and resources.
So less re-imaging overall, that's a big win.
Huge win. The key components and processes involve device registration. That's where the hardware hash of a device gets uploaded to Intune. Then there are deployment profiles, which define that OBE and all the settings. And the enrollment status page, which gives real-time feedback to the user during setup.
So the user knows what's happening.
Right. These work together to make deployment and setup of Windows 10 and 11 devices way easier for IT pros. It ensures new devices are set up according to specific requirements without manual intervention, dramatically minimizing the potential for user error during setup. This creates a really seamless user experience as devices come pre-configured with necessary apps, settings, security features.
Okay, so how does IT prep for this?
For preparation, IT obtains those hardware IDs, also called device hashes, uploads them to Intune, or the Autopilot service, creates the deployment profiles, applies those profiles, and then manages the devices in tune with automatic MDM enrollment. It flows pretty nicely once set up.
Got it. And you mentioned different scenarios.
Yes, Autopilot supports various deployment scenarios. There's the user-driven mode, which is ideal for new devices for end users. They just log in with corporate credentials, and the device auto-configures. Great for zero-touch deployments with minimal IT involvement. Then there's self-deploying mode. This is designed for devices like kiosks, shared PCs, digital signage, devices with no dedicated user. The device auto-configures without user interaction, enrolls into MDM, applies policies completely hands-off.
Useful for specific cases.
Definitely. Autopilot for existing devices is for those already in use that need a reset or reconfiguration, maybe for migrating to Entra ID. It reconfigures without reinstalling the OS, preserving user data while applying a new corporate profile.
Handy for migrations.
Very. For pre-provisioned deployments, IT basically provisions devices offline with a base profile. The user then completes the personalized setup upon first login. Perfect for sending ready-to-use devices to remote employees.
The hybrid workforce special.
Kinda, yeah. And finally, Autopilot Reset is for returning devices to a corporate-ready state. It removes user data and apps, perfect for refreshing devices for reuse or standardization.
It was a full toolkit of options.
Absolutely. Of course, no technology is totally perfect, and troubleshooting is always part of IT life, right?
Always. What goes wrong with Autopilot?
When things go wrong, you need a systematic approach. First, verify the configuration. Are the Autopilot profiles correct in Intune? Assigned to the right groups. Is the device hash accurately uploaded and linked? Check the basics.
Check the settings first.
Always. Network connectivity is vital. Devices need a stable internet connection to reach Autopilot, MDM services, cloud resources. Observe the OBE behavior. Closely stalls or unexpected prompts can indicate misconfigurations. And leverage the Windows Autopilot diagnostics tool for detailed logs.
Use the tools available.
Definitely. For Microsoft Entra join issues, double-check Entra ID settings, device registration status, user credentials, any existing device registrations. MDM enrollment issues require verifying correct enrollment, policy reception from Intune, and ensuring automatic enrollment is properly enabled. And for device import issues, just double-check those hashes are correctly imported and listed in your device inventory. It's often the small details that trip up a smooth Autopilot rollout.
That's an incredibly comprehensive overview of Autopilot. It really does feel like the future of deployment. But, before Autopilot became the go-to for modern cloud-native deployments, there was the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, or MDT. What's its place in the MD-102 toolkit today? Why might an administrator still need to know about it, especially in, say, mixed environments?
That's a great question because MDT certainly holds historical significance, and yeah, it remains highly relevant for many organizations. The Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, it simplifies traditional Windows client deployment by automating the OS installation and configuration, which undeniably saves significant time and effort compared to fully manual installs.
Right, the old school automation.
Exactly. It's fantastic for creating custom images, managing driver injection, automating the installation of applications during the deployment process, all that good stuff. MDT also helps manage device updates and configurations in a more traditional on-premises way, often alongside tools like SCCM, System Center Configuration Manager, now called Microsoft Configuration Manager.
Yeah,
Right. Successful deployment with MDT requires careful planning, organizing applications, drivers, operating systems into deployment shares. This meticulous preparation ensures you have all the necessary components for a successful, repeatable deployment. A key advantage of MDT has always been its flexibility. It offers the ability to add specific applications or even custom scripts during deployment, which can meet a really diverse range of business needs, especially for complex or highly customized environments.
So still useful for complex scenarios.
Definitely. While Autopilot excels in cloud-native modern provisioning for new devices, MDT remains a powerful on-premises solution for more traditional imaging and deployment scenarios, particularly for legacy systems or maybe in environments where cloud-only solutions aren't feasible due to network constraints or specific regulatory requirements.
Good point. Not everyone is fully cloud yet.
Exactly. So for an MD-102 candidate, understanding MDT is still valuable because you'll almost certainly encounter organizations with mixed environments, leveraging both modern cloud tools and traditional on-premises solutions. It's really about having a full toolbox, not just one shiny new wrench.
That makes perfect sense. Knowing both the old and the new tools ensures maximum flexibility. Now, Intune is a name that's come up repeatedly. You called it a central tool for modern endpoint management. What are its core capabilities that make it so indispensable for device management in a Microsoft 365 environment?
Intune truly is the nerve center for modern endpoint management in a Microsoft 365 world. Its core capabilities include the ability to remotely manage and secure devices, deploy applications, and enforce compliance policies across a really wide array of platforms: Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android, even Linux now.
Linux too, wow.
Yep, it's a unified platform, which is a massive benefit for IT teams. Instead of juggling multiple tools for different OSs, Intune consolidates that management.
The single pane of glass idea.
Exactly that. For IT administrators, Intune offers significant advantages by providing centralized management and monitoring of devices. This means you have that single view to oversee your entire device fleet, ensuring all devices under its purview are secure, compliant with organizational standards, and kept up to date. It streamlines workflows and reduces administrative overhead significantly.
Sounds efficient. What about best practices?
In an enterprise environment, best practices for using Intune involve defining clear security policies right from the outset. Establish what compliant looks like for different device types and user groups, maybe requiring a certain OS version, disk encryption, a strong PN.
Set the standards.
Right. Then automate device enrollment and provisioning as much as possible, often hand in hand with Windows Autopilot, to streamline onboarding. Finally, implement regular monitoring and reporting for both compliance and security. This isn't a set it and forget it tool. You need to actively monitor dashboards, review reports, and take action on non-compliant devices.
Active management.
Definitely. By following these practices, organizations can effectively manage their diverse fleet of devices, significantly reduce the risk of security breaches, and maintain overall compliance within their complex IT ecosystem. It really simplifies management while seriously enhancing your security posture.
That's a powerful picture of Intune as that central hub. Shifting back to identity for a moment, how does Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure AD, how does that integrate with device management? What specific tasks can administrators perform within Entra ID concerning device identities? It sounds like it's more than just managing user accounts.
Oh, absolutely. Microsoft Entra ID is fundamental to modern device management because it extends identity beyond just users to include devices themselves. It provides a central place to manage device identities and monitor related event information, basically making devices first-class citizens in your identity infrastructure.
Devices as identities. Okay.
Yeah. Right. From the devices overview in the Entra Admin Center, you get immediate insights. You can view your total number of devices, identify stale devices that haven't checked in recently, track non-compliant devices, see any unmanaged devices that might be accessing corporate resources. It also provides convenient links right there to Intune, conditional access policies, BitLocker keys, basic monitoring features, gives you a holistic view. It's worth noting, though, that device counts on this overview page aren't real-time. They usually update every few hours.
Good to know. What actions can admins take?
Administrators can perform numerous device identity management tasks directly within Entra ID. You can quickly identify devices that are Microsoft Entra joined versus registered, that critical distinction between corporate and personal devices. You can see devices deployed via Windows Autopilot, even specialized devices like universal printers. Key actions include enabling or disabling devices, which is vital for security if a device is lost or compromised. Disabling a device prevents it from authenticating via Entra ID and revokes its primary refresh token, or PRT, that key credential keeping users signed in.
So you can cut off access quickly.
Exactly. Deleting devices is also possible, which prevents all access and removes all associated details like BitLocker keys. But this is a non-recoverable action, so use it with caution.
Right. Be careful with delete.
Definitely. For Windows devices encrypted with BitLocker and storing keys in Entra ID, you can view or copy those BitLocker keys, which generates an audit log entry for accountability. The device list itself is super filterable by enabled state, compliant state, join type, Entra joined, registered, or hybrid, activity timestamp, OS type version, device type, MDM status, autopilot status, owner. Tons of attributes.
Lots of filtering power.
Yeah, and you can also download a CSV export of devices, which is incredibly useful for reporting and inventory management.
Nice. What about settings?
Furthermore, Entra ID lets you configure global device settings that control device registration and joining. Settings like users may join devices to Microsoft Entra ID, usually for corporate Windows 10-11, and users may register their devices with Microsoft Entra ID, crucial for personal Windows, iOS, Android, Mac OS, enrolling into Intune.
Okay.
You can also enforce MFA for device registration joining, set a maximum number of devices per user, default is 50, can go up to 100 or unlimited, manage additional local admins on Entra joined devices, and enable the local administrator password solution LAPS.
LAPS, that's a big one for security.
Huge. It automatically manages and randomizes the local admin password on devices, making it much harder for attackers to move laterally if they compromise one machine. You can also restrict non-admins from uncovering BitLocker keys for their own devices and configure enterprise state roaming for user settings. In everything, all these device activities, creation, changes, bulk ops, they're meticulously tracked in comprehensive audit logs, filterable by category, resource type, date, target, initiator, providing granular visibility.
That level of detail and control in Entra ID is truly impressive. It's clearly much more than just users. Okay, so with so many devices now remote or in hybrid work setups, being able to manage them remotely is absolutely non-negotiable. What's involved in setting up these remote management tools?
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, what are the crucial best practices for doing so securely? Because, remote access is also a massive attack vector if it's not handled correctly.
You've hit on the critical paradox right there. Remote management, essential for productivity, but a huge security risk if mismanaged. The setup steps generally involve a few key stages. First, you need to ensure the necessary ports are open on devices. That means meticulously checking and adjusting firewall settings, both on the devices and any network firewalls, often done via group policy or Intune configuration profiles.
Firewall rules,
Yeah.
got it.
Then, you need to enable the specific remote management functions on the devices themselves. Could be Remote Desktop Protocol, RDP for Windows, SSH for Linux, or enabling remote assistance within Intune. Finally, installing and configuring the specific remote management software is crucial for gaining reliable access and monitoring. Think Intune's remote help feature, TeamViewer, those kinds of solutions.
Choosing the right tool.
Right. These tools play a vital role by providing real-time visibility into device status, making troubleshooting and maintenance far more efficient. Imagine a user calls with a problem. You can quickly jump onto their device, diagnose the issue, apply a fix, all without leaving your desk.
Saves a lot of time in travel.
Definitely. They empower IT pros to remotely access and manage devices, install updates, run scripts, monitor system performance, all without needing physical access, especially critical in today's geographically dispersed workforce.
Okay, but the security part, how do we lock it down?
Right, the security. Best practices here are paramount. Implement strong measures to protect these sensitive access points. This absolutely includes deploying multi-factor authentication, MFA, for all remote connections. MFA is that critical barrier preventing unauthorized access, even if credentials get stolen.
MFA everywhere.
Everywhere you can. You must use encryption for remote connections to protect sensitive data transmitted during a remote session. Furthermore, regularly updating and patching the remote management software itself is crucial to address any newly discovered vulnerabilities. These tools are often targeted by attackers.
Keep the tools patched too.
Absolutely. Additionally, implement robust logging and auditing of all remote sessions. You need a clear trail of who accessed what and when. These steps ensure that remote access, while convenient, doesn't become an Achilles heel for your organization's security posture.
That's a great deep dive into remote management security.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move on to another absolutely critical area, compliance. We hear the word all the time, but it isn't just a buzzword. It's a really critical framework for any organization. How do we effectively implement compliance policies using a tool like Intune to keep devices secure and in line with our standards? Not just theoretically, but, in the trenches.
Yeah.
How does it work day to day?
Compliance is absolutely foundational, you're right.
Yeah.
And Intune makes it not just manageable, but actually scalable. Implementing compliance policies within an organization, it follows a structured approach focused on ensuring adherence to laws, regulations, internal standards, all that.
Okay.
This involves developing clear policies and procedures for what compliant actually means for different device types and user groups. For instance, a corporate laptop might have different compliance requirements than, say, a personal mobile phone used for work email.
Different rules for different devices.
Exactly. You also need to provide comprehensive training to employees on why these policies exist and establish effective communication channels to convey their importance throughout the organization. People need to understand the why.
Buy-in is important.
Crucial. To integrate compliance policies into existing operational processes, you should conduct regular audits, incorporate compliance requirements directly into job descriptions, maybe even appoint dedicated compliance officers or roles. Successful implementation requires strong leadership support, regular risk assessments to identify potential vulnerabilities, and staying continuously updated on regulatory changes. Those are always in flux.
Constantly changing rules.
Always. It's also vital to promote a culture of integrity and ethics, provide clear guidelines for reporting violations, and establish appropriate disciplinary measures for non-compliance. Overall, effective implementation demands collaboration among different departments, continuous monitoring, and an unwavering commitment to upholding ethical and security standards.
Okay, so how do we actually create these policies in Intune? What are the steps?
Right, the practical part. When it comes to policy creation in Microsoft Intune, there are several prerequisites. You need an Intune subscription, obviously. And if you're leveraging conditional access to enforce compliance, like blocking non-compliant devices, a Microsoft Entra ID P1 or P2 edition is required.
Got it. Licensing matters.
It does. Devices must be running a supported platform, Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, Windows 10, 11. And crucially, they must be enrolled in Intune with a single user enrollment. For platforms like Linux and Windows 10, 11, Intune even supports adding custom compliance settings.
Custom settings. Interesting.
Yeah, this means preparing a custom JSON file, defining your unique rules, and a detection script, usually PowerShell for Windows, to evaluate those rules on the device. Gives you a lot of flexibility.
Are you flexible? So the creation process.
The steps to create a policy are pretty straightforward in the Intune Admin Center. You sign in, go to Devices, then Compliance, and select Create Policy. You'll choose the platform, and for Android Enterprise, you might even select a profile type, like Work Profile or Fully Managed. After naming and describing the policy, you configure various compliance settings from the available categories. Things like requiring a minimum OS version, enforcing device encryption, setting password complexity. Lots of built-in options. For custom compliance on Windows, you enable it, select your PowerShell discovery script, and upload a JSON file with your custom settings. For Linux, you add custom compliance settings via the settings picker, switch require custom compliance to true, select your discovery script, and upload a JSON rules file, which Intune then validates.
Seems logical. What about when things go wrong? Non-compliance.
Good question. Once settings are configured, you define actions for non-compliance. These are automated actions Intune takes if a device fails to meet compliance. This could be anything from simply marking a device as non-compliant, sending an email notification to the user in IT, to more severe actions like locking the device or even retiring it, which removes all corporate data.
Oh, escalating actions.
Exactly. You can schedule these actions, for instance. Mark non-compliant after 1 day, send email after 2, block access via conditional access after 5 days. You can even use scope tags to filter policies to specific groups, ensuring only relevant devices get certain policies. Finally, you assign the policy to user or device groups, noting that Linux policies currently only support device groups, then review and create.
How quickly do devices check in for these policies?
It's important to understand the refresh cycle times. Intune uses different cycles. Newly enrolled devices check in more frequently, often within minutes. Established devices check in less frequently, maybe every 8 hours or so, but users can also manually sync via the company portal app if they suspect an issue or need a policy applied quickly.
Okay, and what's this in grace period status?
Ah, yes. Devices can also enter an in-grace period status. Think of in-grace period like a device being on probation. It's technically non-compliant, but you've given it a bit of a timeout, a grace period you define in the policy, to get its act together before it's fully flagged as non-compliant and potentially loses access through conditional access.
So a chance to fix things.
Right. It's a way to give users a chance to fix issues, maybe update their OS, enable encryption without immediate lockout. If a device has multiple compliance policies applied with differing statuses, a single resulting compliance status is assigned based on a severity level, like unknown is low severity, compliant is good, and grace period is higher, non-compliant is higher still, error is highest. The highest severity level takes precedence. So if even one policy marks it non-compliant, the device's overall status will reflect that, ensuring your most critical failures are always visible.
That was an incredibly detailed walkthrough of implementing compliance policies.
Okay.
It truly highlights the depth required for the MD-102. So once all those robust policies are actually in place, how do we keep an eye on everything? How do we ensure devices are actually compliant and healthy? What are Intune's monitoring capabilities for the Endpoint Administrator?
Right. Deployment is one thing. Monitoring is the ongoing reality. Once those policies are deployed, Intune truly shines in its monitoring capabilities. It provides constant vigilance to ensure ongoing compliance and security. It monitors devices by allowing administrators to set up and enforce those precise compliance policies we just discussed, defining rules for encryption, passwords, OS versions, etc.
Mhm.
Intune gives you comprehensive dashboards where you can see the compliance status of your entire device fleet at a glance. It can even monitor device health metrics and, in some scenarios, track device location if that's legally permissible and configured. A critical feature, particularly for lost or stolen devices, is the ability to perform a remote wipe. This safeguards corporate data by completely erasing it, often leaving personal data untouched on BYOD devices if you use the retire evasion.
That selective wipe is important.
Very important for BYO trust. Its features include the flexibility to customize device compliance policies and deploy security baselines, those predefined sets of security configurations designed to harden devices against common threats. Administrators can view comprehensive compliance data directly within the Intune console, which helps in quickly identifying non-compliant devices.
Finding the problem devices.
Exactly. Intune then enforces these compliance policies by limiting access to corporate resources for any device that doesn't meet the defined standards, usually via conditional access. For example, a non-compliant device might be blocked from accessing corporate email or SharePoint until the issue is resolved.
The enforcement piece.
Right. Furthermore, Intune offers detailed reporting and analysis on device compliance status. It provides a clear overview of the environment, allowing you to drill down into specific devices or user groups to understand compliance trends and issues. Intune also plays a significant role in managing and monitoring device updates through automated patching, deploying feature updates, ensuring devices have the latest security features. You can set maintenance windows for updates, receive alerts for failed installations, and gain deep insights into the update deployment and installation status across your entire fleet. This comprehensive monitoring helps maintain a consistently secure and up-to-date device fleet, proactively identifying and addressing issues before they become major incidents.
Let's zoom in on updates again, because managing them effectively is absolutely crucial for both security and just a smooth user experience. What are the practical steps for MD-102 certified professionals to manage device updates effectively? Minimizing disruption, maximizing security, especially in larger organizations. What does that look like day to day?
Effective device update management, it's all about being proactive and strategic, not just reactive. MD-102 certified pros should be scheduling updates regularly to minimize disruption to users and business operations. This means defining specific maintenance windows, ideally during non-peak hours, and providing advance notifications to users about potential disruptions. Nobody appreciates that surprise reboot during a critical meeting.
No, definitely not. Communication again.
Always. Implementing best practices is key. This involves not just automated updates during non-peak hours, but also that sophisticated approach to validation. You need to use central management tools like Intune to create update rings, allowing you to deploy updates in phases.
The rings approach.
Exactly. A small pilot group gets updates first, then maybe a broader set of users a week later, and finally your entire organization. This minimizes the impact of a potentially problematic update, giving you time to identify and remediate issues before they affect everyone. It's vital to ensure all managed devices receive regular updates and security patches by consistently using these central management tools and monitoring systems. Keep track of everything.
Right. For larger deployments, considering that phased approach isn't just beneficial, it's pretty much essential. It helps minimize network bandwidth impact. You're not pushing huge updates to thousands of devices simultaneously. More importantly, it ensures a smoother update process by testing on smaller groups before a wider rollout, acting as an early warning system.
Smart.
So, what does this all mean for you, the endpoint administrator? It's about more than just installing software. It's about maintaining optimal device performance and consistently protecting against evolving security vulnerabilities. A well-managed update process is a cornerstone of endpoint security and user trust. It dramatically reduces help desk calls and maintains productivity.
That's a great approach to updates, making it strategic. Okay, beyond just managing the device and its software, how do we truly protect the endpoint itself from the ever-present, ever-evolving array of threats out there? What are the core endpoint protection strategies an administrator needs to implement to build a truly resilient system? Improving endpoint protection, it involves a truly multi-layered approach. That's something the MD-102 emphasizes heavily. Organizations should implement regular software updates and patch vulnerabilities religiously. That's your absolute baseline. Can't skip that.
Patch, patch, patch.
Always. Beyond that, Use multi-factor authentication for all access points to secure user identities and enforce strong password policies. Even the best security tools can be bypassed by weak credentials.
The basics still matter.
Immensely. Additionally, you must conduct regular security audits to identify potential weaknesses in your configurations. Continuously monitor network traffic and device activity for suspicious behaviors. And critically, educate employees on data security best practices. Human error remains a significant vulnerability, right? A well-trained workforce is your first line of defense.
The human firewall.
Exactly. When developing robust endpoint protection strategies, key elements to consider include identifying and prioritizing your critical assets, what data or systems absolutely must be protected first, implement robust access controls and encryption for all sensitive data, both at rest and in transit, and perhaps most importantly, establish clear, tested incident response plans.
Planning for the inevitable.
You got it. Knowing exactly what to do when a breach does occur can mean the difference between a minor incident and a catastrophic failure. These strategies are crucial not only for mitigating potential threats, but also for building a truly robust and secure IT environment that can withstand modern cyber attacks. It's this continuous cycle: prevention, detection, response.
Makes sense. Any specific tools?
Yeah, it's worth mentioning Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, or MDE. It's a key solution in this space. It provides unified pre- and post-breach enterprise defense across various IT assets. Think vulnerability management, endpoint detection and response, EDR, automated investigation capabilities. It's powerful. Endpoint administrators can leverage built-in security baselines in Intune specifically for MDE configurations, which really streamlines the deployment of these advanced protections.
Okay, Defender for Endpoint. Good to know. Now, applications are often the gateway to sensitive data, right? Especially when employees are using personal devices for work, which is so common now. How do app protection policies keep that data safe? And what are the common challenges an MD-102 certified professional will face in implementing them effectively?
App protection policies, often called mobile application management or MAM policies, they're absolutely critical because they dictate how an application behaves on a user's device. Specifically, they ensure that corporate data is kept safe even if the device itself isn't fully managed by the organization.
So, managing the app, not the whole device.
Exactly. These policies are implemented and enforced within the organization's device management system, typically through tools like Microsoft Intune. They're designed to protect sensitive data on personal bring-your-own-device, BYOD phones or tablets, for example, places where you don't want to manage the entire device but still need to secure corporate apps and data.
Right.
App protection policies dictate granular controls. For instance, they can prevent corporate data from being copied and pasted into personal applications, restrict saving corporate files to unapproved cloud storage like personal Dropbox, or require a PIN just to access a specific corporate application like Outlook. This ensures a logical separation between work and personal data.
Data leakage prevention, essentially.
That's a big part of it. However, configuring app protection policies can present significant challenges. One common hurdle is configuring policies for different types of applications. A Word app might have different requirements than, say, a custom line of business app.
Different apps, different needs.
Right. Ensuring compatibility across various operating systems and app versions is another complexity. A policy that works perfectly on iOS 16 might behave differently on an older Android version or break something. To overcome these, solutions often involve using app protection policy templates within Intune to streamline the process for common apps like the Office suite and careful testing for others.
Templates help standardize.
They do. Ultimately, app protection policies contribute significantly to the overall security and compliance of an organization's mobile applications. They provide features like data encryption at rest within the app, those copy-paste restrictions, and critically, the ability to remotely wipe only corporate data from a user's device if it's lost or the employee leaves, leaving personal data untouched. This helps prevent unauthorized access to sensitive corporate info and ensures compliance with the data protection regulations, striking that delicate balance between user privacy and corporate security.
That distinction between wiping corporate data and leaving personal data untouched, that must be a huge relief for users, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It's key for BYOD adoption.
Right. But configuring apps, even with policies, isn't always smooth sailing. What are the common app configuration challenges that an MD-102 certified professional should be prepared to overcome? And what are the practical, real-world solutions they can deploy to fix them?
You're right. Configuring apps can be deceptively complex. App configuration challenges in the MD-102 path often revolve around compatibility issues, data security concerns, and user access controls. For example, when devices run different OSs or various versions of the same OS, configuring apps can become tricky. A new app might not work on an older OS, or a specific configuration might cause a crash on a particular device model. This can potentially lead to performance and functionality issues that impact device management and user productivity.
Frustrating for users.
Very. These challenges can quickly lead to decreased productivity if users can't access critical applications. They can introduce significant security vulnerabilities if not addressed correctly. And ultimately, they result in widespread user dissatisfaction. Imagine an entire department unable to use a key sales tool because of a misconfigured setting that's bad news.
Yeah, big impact. So how do we fix it?
To overcome these app configuration hurdles, key strategies include standardizing device parameters where possible. Doesn't mean forcing everyone onto the same device, but maybe creating standardized deployment profiles or recommending certain models. You also need to implement robust security protocols through Intune's app configuration policies, ensuring that apps behave securely regardless of the device they're running on. And most importantly, utilizing flexible management tools such as app configuration policies for managed applications and devices allows you to push out settings to apps without requiring users to manually configure them. This could be anything from pre-populating server addresses for an email app to setting security encryption levels within a document editor. Saves users hassle and ensures consistency.
Automating the setup.
Exactly. What's truly fascinating here is that by proactively addressing these challenges, administrators can ensure smooth application deployment, provide a seamless user experience, and achieve efficient device management. And that is absolutely central to the MD-102 path. It's about becoming a bit of a detective, anticipating where things could go sideways, and having the tools and knowledge to solve them before they impact the end user.
All right, we've really unpacked the what and how of MD-102, diving deep into the technical intricacies. Now, for the big question on everyone's mind, how do you actually prepare for and pass this exam with confidence? What study guide recommendations do you have that really deliver results? Where should people start?
Preparation is absolutely paramount, you're right. And fortunately, there are many excellent resources available. I'd strongly recommend starting with the official exam objectives and study guides. Microsoft publishes these directly. Things like the ExamRef MD-102 Microsoft Endpoint Administrator book are great. These provide the foundational structure of what you're expected to know.
Start with the official stuff.
Always. Then, Microsoft Learn modules and the official documentation, these are invaluable. They're free, they're comprehensive, and you should absolutely leverage them. They offer structured learning paths directly from the source, often with interactive labs built right in.
Microsoft Learn is pretty good these days.
It really is. For those who prefer a more structured, instructor-led approach, training from providers like Readiness, they offer a 5-day Microsoft 365 Certified Endpoint Administrator course, or ACI Learning's MD-102 course. Those can be highly effective. These courses often provide dedicated hands-on lab environments and direct expert guidance, which some people really benefit from.
Instructor-led options, too.
Yep. Online platforms like Pluralsight and Udemy also offer structured courses with video lessons and quizzes often taught by industry experts. Good for self-paced learning. And don't overlook YouTube channels for practical demonstrations and real-world scenarios. Channels like Cloud 360 Training have an excellent MD-102 series and practice questions. Intune Training is fantastic for really in-depth Intune portal walkthroughs and troubleshooting tips.
YouTube can be gold.
It really can. Finally, many successful candidates also credit significant hands-on experience in the Intune portal itself, actually checking app status, reviewing compliance reports, enrolling devices, deploying apps. That practical application solidifies theoretical knowledge like nothing else, even if it's just a trial tenant.
So, theory plus practice.
Absolutely essential combination.
Okay, so beyond just what to study, how do you study effectively? How do you make sure that knowledge truly sticks and translates into not just passing the exam, but actual real-world skills? Because that's the ultimate goal, right? Not just the paper.
Exactly. The ultimate goal is practical competence. Effective training strategies involve a multifaceted approach that goes way beyond just reading. You should combine interactive learning methods, engaging videos, quizzes, self-paced practice exams, keep the material dynamic, and reinforce learning constantly.
Mix it up.
Yeah. But the real secret sauce, I think, is prioritizing practical, hands-on exercises. Get access to a Microsoft 365 tenant and Microsoft Intune environment, even if it's just a trial one, and actually practice deploying, configuring, securing devices yourself.
Do the work.
Do the work. Create compliance policies, deploy apps, set up autopilot profiles, troubleshoot common issues, simulate real-world scenarios like policy enforcement failures or typical user problems. This builds muscle memory and deepens your understanding far more than just reading about it.
Makes sense. Learn by doing.
Totally. Using case studies, participating in study groups, or even online forums can foster collaboration and deepen understanding by letting you see different perspectives on problems. It's also important that your study materials use clear and concise communication, avoiding unnecessary jargon where possible. Ensure you get regular feedback and support, whether from an instructor, study partner, or online forums, to address challenges or questions as they arise.
Don't study in a vacuum.
Right. And finally, create a well-structured study plan. Put together a realistic timeline. Dedicate consistent hours each week, maybe break topics into manageable sections to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Consistency, not cramming right at the end, is your best friend here.
Good advice. Plan it out. Be consistent. Okay. Practice absolutely makes perfect, or at least better. How crucial are practice tests for the MD-102 specifically? And how can someone get the absolute most out of them beyond just, checking their score? What's the real strategy there?
Practice tests are absolutely critical for MD-102 success. I really can't overstate their importance. They simulate the actual exam environment, the timing, the question formats, and they're indispensable for assessing your readiness. But maybe more importantly, they help you identify those areas needing further study and preparation. Think of them like a diagnostic tool for your knowledge.
Find the gaps.
Exactly. These tests measure your knowledge, they boost your confidence by familiarizing you with the format, and they provide crucial familiarity with the actual exam style, including question types and that tricky wording we talked about. Plus, practice tests aid with time management, helping you understand the pace you need to work at during the real exam.
Pacing is important.
Very. But here's the game changer, the real strategy. The key isn't just taking the practice tests, it's analyzing your mistakes. Deeply review every single incorrect answer. Understand why it was wrong and why the correct answer is right. Don't just look at the right answer and move on.
Understand the why.
Yes.
Oh.
Then go back and study the related topics where you struggled, reinforcing that knowledge. After a period of review, retake tests to track your progress and ensure the information has actually stuck. And a crucial warning. Avoid relying solely on dumps, those collections of supposed exam questions and answers that promise an easy pass.
The infamous dumps. Avoid.
Avoid. This leads to rote memorization without true understanding, and Microsoft changes questions frequently anyway. You must focus on understanding the underlying concepts for real-world application, not just memorizing answers. Microsoft also offers official practice assessments now for many exams. These provide an excellent overview of the style, wording, and difficulty you're likely to experience, and they're a fantastic, legitimate starting point.
Official practice tests are the way to go. Okay, there's clearly a lot of information to absorb for this exam. Do you have any specific techniques or tricks for making those key concepts stick, especially for someone who might not be working with Intune or Entra ID every single day in their current job?
Absolutely. When you have a large volume of information to retain, especially with the breadth of topics in the MD-102, certain memorization techniques can be incredibly effective. First, consider using flashcards. Great for quick recall of important terms, commands, definitions, tools like Anki, Quizlet, or even just physical index cards using active recall that can dramatically strengthen memory.
Flashcards, good old-fashioned tool.
Still works. Second, mind maps. These are fantastic for visualizing relationships between different topics and concepts. For instance, you could create a mind map for device compliance with branches, for policy creation, actions for non-compliance monitoring, and then connect those to Intune and Entra ID. Helps you see the bigger picture and how all the elements connect.
Visualizing connections, I like that.
Third, don't shy away from mnemonics. Creating acronyms or memorable phrases for complex concepts or ordered steps can make them much easier to remember. For example, to remember the steps for a specific deployment type, you could create a silly sentence where each word starts with the first letter of a step, whatever works for your brain.
Get creative with it.
Exactly. And finally, probably the most powerful technique is simply practice and repetition. And this isn't just about flashcards. It means reinforcing your learning through that hands-on experience whenever possible. Even if it's just a trial tenant, Go into Intune, create a compliance policy, try to deploy an app, configure Autopilot. The physical act of doing reinforces the theory like nothing else. Engage in regular review sessions too, to keep the information fresh. The more you interact with the material and apply it, the more deeply it sticks, moving from short-term recall to long-term memory.
Practice, practice, practice. Got it. Okay, the big day arrives. For someone who's put in all the hard work, they've studied, they've practiced, what final advice can you offer for performing well under pressure on exam day itself, ensuring they maximize their chances of success right there in the testing center?
Right, exam day. Practical preparation extends beyond just knowledge. It's also about managing your state of mind and your strategy during the test. First, pretty basic, but ensure you are well rested. Get a good night's sleep and arrive early to the exam center or get your online setup ready well in advance. Avoid any last-minute stress or rushing.
Reduce the stress.
Absolutely. During the exam itself, read those questions incredibly carefully. We keep saying it, but the MD-102 exam is known to be tricky. Often subtle wording, double negatives, specific scenarios that can lead you astray if you just skim. Read it, reread it, identify the core problem being asked before you even look at the answers.
Focus on the question first.
Yes, manage your time wisely. Don't get bogged down on a really difficult question for too long. If a question is tough or you're unsure, flag it to revisit later. Move on to questions you can answer more quickly to build momentum and ensure you don't miss easier points just because you ran out of time.
Flag and return. Good strategy.
It is. Practice eliminating wrong answers to improve your accuracy. Often, you can identify two answers that are clearly incorrect, leaving you with a 50-50 chance between the remaining two. Use logic. Most importantly, stay calm, trust the preparation you've done, and use logical reasoning to tackle those tricky scenarios. Don't second-guess yourself too much if you've studied diligently.
Trust your gut. Trust your prep.
Exactly. And here's that fascinating insight again from a past test taker. Some Microsoft exams now allow access to Microsoft Learn side by side during the test. However, there simply isn't enough time to look up every single answer. Don't rely on it.
What a crutch.
Not a crutch. The advice is to practice using the MS documentation search functionality beforehand, as Trantool plus F is often not available within the exam environment itself. So you need to be efficient in formulating your search queries to quickly find what you need, maybe just for those one or two truly confounding questions where you need a specific detail. It's a tool, a backup, not the primary strategy.
Good clarification. Okay, it's always helpful to hear directly from those who've actually been through the fire, so to speak. What do real MD-102 test takers say about their journey? What unique learnings did they gather along the way that might surprise new candidates, things you don't read in the official guides?
Insights from those who've passed the MD-102 are incredibly valuable, yeah. They reveal nuances beyond just the curriculum. Many emphasize that the exam requires strong analytical skills specifically, that ability to filter out unnecessary information within a question scenario and make logical conclusions based on the core details provided. It's less about rote memorization of every tiny detail and more about problem solving and applying concepts. Microsoft loves those scenario-based questions that test your judgment.
Reading comprehension and analysis.
Big time. Hands-on experience, even if it's somewhat limited, like, say, just a 5-month internship. Working with the Intune portal significantly boosts preparation. This includes practical tasks like checking application status, compliance status, enrolling devices, deploying applications. That real-world interaction makes the theoretical concepts much more concrete. It helps you understand the flow of administration, teaches you what to expect when you click certain buttons.
Practicality wins again.
It really does. Another interesting learning point shared is leveraging accessibility tools, like Microsoft Edge's built-in screen reader from Microsoft Learn documentation. For some people, this can make studying from a screen for extended periods more tolerable and maybe even more efficient. Whatever helps you absorb the material.
Interesting tip. Use the tools available.
Right. Ultimately, the exams often test the ability to identify key terms, understand the context of a problem, and logically exclude wrong answers, maybe even more than just raw IT skill in isolation. Having a solid base of general IT knowledge, especially in networking fundamentals and basic security principles, helps significantly in this logical deduction process, even if it's not explicitly an MD-102 topic. It all ties together in those complex scenarios.
That's fantastic and really practical advice all the way through. So let's fast forward. Congratulations. You've passed the MD-102. What's next? What's next for your career journey, and how can you best leverage this new certification to truly accelerate your professional path? Where do you go from here?
Great question. After passing the MD-102 exam, the first practical steps are crucial for immediate impact. Update your LinkedIn profile, update your resume, any other professional platforms. Prominently showcase your new certification. This immediately signals your expertise to potential employers or maybe for internal promotions within your current organization. Don't be shy about it. You earned it.
Broadcast your success.
Absolutely. Then, actively leverage your new skills. Look for job opportunities that require this cert, or look for projects within your current role where your endpoint administrator expertise can make a tangible difference. Demonstrate how your newfound knowledge can benefit your organization, maybe by streamlining a deployment process you learned about, hardening device security based on best practices, or improving compliance reporting. Show the value.
Apply the knowledge.
Right. Looking ahead, consider advancing to higher-level Microsoft certifications to continue expanding your expertise and career prospects even further. The MD-500, which focuses on Microsoft 365 Security Administrator, is a really natural progression if you want to deepen your security knowledge across the whole M365 ecosystem.
MD-500 for security focus.
Yep.
Alternatively, the AZ-104 for Azure Administrator Associate is excellent if you want to broaden your cloud infrastructure and IaaS skills. These certifications build on the foundation of the MD-102, opening up even more specialized and senior roles down the line. And this naturally raises an important question for you, the listener. How will you continue to apply and build upon this knowledge in your day-to-day work? How will you ensure this certification is just the beginning of your journey, not the end? Continuous learning and practical application are what truly maximize the value of any certification long-term.
Well, you've just taken a really deep dive into the Microsoft MD-102 certification. We've covered everything from the core concepts and essential tools that underpin modern endpoint administration, all the way to practical study strategies and invaluable real-world insights from those who've walked the path. You should now feel armed with the knowledge and hopefully the strategic mindset to approach this exam with confidence and truly elevate your career as an endpoint administrator. That successful navigation of endpoint administration is just so crucial for modern IT. Hopefully this helps clear the path.
We certainly hope this deep dive has provided you with clarity, maybe sparked some new ideas, and given you that decisive edge you need for success. So thinking about it now, what aspect of endpoint administration are you most excited to master? And how will the MD-102 certification maybe accelerate that journey for you? Something to think about.
Thanks for listening, and make sure to subscribe for more tips and tricks on exams.